and welcome back to Inclusive Design 24 2021, brought to you with thanks to our platinum sponsors, Fable, Intopia, TPGI Arc, and Adobe, and our gold supporter, Tetralogical. A reminder, you can follow us on Twitter. The account is at ID24Conf. And if you have any questions or comments for our presenters, you can post them on Twitter with the hashtag ID24. Ariel, I'll hand over to you now to present our next speaker, please.
So up next, we have Meryl Evans talking about Deaf Tech, travel through time from past to present. Over to you, Meryl.
Thank you. And thanks to everyone for joining us. I am excited to be speaking at ID24, and I hope you've caught a lot of the session with an amazing speaker. Before we take off, the slides with detailed image description are available at meril.net/ID24. That's MERYL. The link to the live transcript for this talk is there too. You'll also find the hashtag and a link to my Twitter ID. It's at Meryl K. Evans with a headshot photo like this one of me in a red collared shirt. Are your bags packed and ready to travel through time? I looked into borrowing the Doc Brown DeLorean and the Dr. Turtle, but they were too expensive. So I found a generic time machine that the DeLorean in Police Box Blue. While the time machine warms up, here's a little background. Howdy, I'm Meryl, pronoun she, her. I'm in Plano, Texas, USA, right next to Dallas. I am a member of Generation X with shoulder-length curly hair, pale skin, and a dark top. I was born hearing-free, aka profoundly deaf. I got my first hearing aid when I was 1. It was nothing like the ones you see today. There was no hiding it, as the image shows 3-year-old me holding a basket of flowers, wearing a vintage hearing aid on my chest. The hearing aid is tucked inside my own cape with straps that went over my shoulder and around my waist to hold it in place. Both earpieces have ear modes in the ears. Both sides have a cord that runs from the earpieces and plugs into the back. 4 AA batteries powered it. My dear mother tried. She really tried. She made hearing cases in different colors and designs. There's just no hiding the hearing aid. Poor mom. She couldn't make the cord invisible. Being the typical toddler, I ripped a lot of those cords. By the time I was 9, I leveled up to the behind-the-ear or BTE hearing aid. Finally, I could wear cool t-shirts with words and pictures on them. Then 18 years ago, I leveled up to a bionic ear, which is a lot cooler than saying cochlear implant. Even with the bionic ear, I still need to lip read to listen. A hearing device supersizes lip reading. For example, mom, mop, bop, pop. All look the same on the left without sound. The most common assumption people make about me is that I know sign language. I don't. That is neither a good thing or a bad thing. There is no right or wrong. It just is. Deaf and hard of hearing people are different. I can only speak from my experience. When you meet one deaf person, then you've met one deaf person, not all of us. In my day job, when I'm not an accessibility and caption pusher, I am a digital marketing handler and accessibility consultant. All right, let's get the show on the road. Hang on to your hat. The generic time machine gets bumpy. In 1888, Meet William Hoy, an American professional baseball player who was deaf. Since he couldn't hear the call, he is credited with asking umpires to raise the right arm to indicate a strike. While there's debate about who actually started the hand signal, those signals helped me when I played softball. They also helped a lot of people who aren't deaf, like families attending their kids' baseball and softball games. Then William Hoy and his wife were deaf. They didn't hear the doorbell. He came up with a creative solution by putting a baseball on top of the door next to a mechanism. The visitors would pull the chain, knocking the ball to the floor. When William and Anna felt the vibration, they knew they had a visitor. Meanwhile, in the decade prior to that, a new invention was gaining ground that would be challenging for the deaf, and that's the telephone. Almost 500,000 homes in the U.S. had telephones by 1889. Let's jump to 1950. The pager was patented in 1949, and the first paging service arrived the following year. More than 40 years later, I received the pager in my first job. If somebody needed to reach me, they'd page me with a callback number. Eventually, I graduated to an alphanumeric pager that allowed people to send me messages with text, not your phone number. Well, in the 1960s, when the teletypewriter or TTY came out, you may know it as a TDD, which is telecommunication device for the deaf. They weren't originally the same thing, but these terms are interchangeable now. The early TTYs were large and bulky. For those not familiar with the TTY, it was like having a keyboard or a typewriter with an acoustic coupler. You put the handset into the coupler so the TTY could hear the tone coming in from the other end of the line and translate those tones into text. Later, TTYs had a printer to print the conversation on paper to save the conversation. At the time, communicating through the TTY required people on both ends of the call to have a TTY. Because no one in my life had one, I didn't have a TTY until my first job. However, I had something else just as good. More on both shortly. Let's set the time machine for the 1970s. In the late 70s, the modern multi-channel cochlear implant came out. There are two parts of a cochlear implant. The external part with the sound processor and microphone that send signal to the implant on the inside. The internal implant transports the signal to the electrode into the inner ear. These signals stimulate the auditory nerve and direct the signal to the brain. The brain converts them into sound. A hearing aid, on the other hand, simply amplifies sound, or in my case, boom, massive volume of sound into my ear. It's no wonder why my hearing aids squealed a lot. This is called feedback. The earmuffs had to be made to fit inside the ear just right. It steals the sound to keep it in the ear. But when the modes move or don't fit perfectly, it causes feedback. So picture a silent room, and suddenly the hearing aid starts screaming and everybody looks at you. Because of that, I have many embarrassing moments. Thanks to the cochlear implant, this doesn't happen anymore. Another great thing about the bionic ear is that I can stream audio from my phone to my head. Shh! Between you and me, this lets me listen to music without anyone knowing. I could also control the volume and program with my phone. Before this model, I had to use a separate remote control to change the setting. Many hearing aids today can connect with something people already own. Those cell phones, they can change the setting. If they're in a noisy restaurant, they can switch to a different program to reduce the sound around them. And the microphone zoom in on the person in front of them. As for the bad thing, the cochlear implant in my head has a magnet, so I can't have an MRI. To have an MRI requires getting the implant removed. Fortunately, some of the newer implants don't have this issue. I have a confession to make. I put magnets on my head to see if they would stick. And a couple did. Hey, this was a very serious science experiment. Hearing aids and cochlear implants are not sure. As soon as I take mine off, I can't hear anything. Lip reading is still my #1 listening tool. If I close my eyes when you talk to me, I know you're talking, but that's not what you're saying. It was no secret I didn't like summer camp. My parents had to bribe me just so they could go to Hawaii. And I did the exact same thing to my daughter when we went to Hawaii. Except, instead of going to camp, she went to Disney World with her grandparents. Yes, the same one who bribed me. She got a better deal than I did. Anyway, a big surprise awaited me when I came home from camp. It was a brand new Apple II Plus computer that yelled at me all the time because it had no lowercase letters. That was the start of my lifelong love of computing. Eventually, we added a slow 300-baud modem that let me connect to the bulletin board system, or BBS. Think of a BBS as a vintage internet in the days before Prodigy and America Online. It had email, it had forum, it had real-time chat, and some had games. The modem made it possible for me to talk to people by myself. I'd email other members or join discussion in the forum. I never missed a word or misunderstood anyone. I used to be embarrassed to tell people this about me. I met my spouse on the BBS. Now I brag about how I found internet dating before online dating and apps were cool. My mom said I was her only kid to read before kindergarten. I asked her how that happened. She credited Sesame Street on TV. But this was long before caption came along. Those Muppets didn't exactly have lips you could read. Their mouths should go up and down. What they did have was a lot of on-screen text. People learned to read from watching captions. I probably figured it out between the simple storyline and the text on the screen. The birth of caption came about because human beings have a history of making improvements to things that were setbacks for the deaf and the hard of hearing. We are telegraphed to send messages. Then the telephone replaced it. We have silent movies that everyone could enjoy. Then the talkie came in 1927. Thanks to talkie, a deaf actor named Emerson Romero lost his job and went back to New York City, where he became active in the deaf community. He bought several films, and in 1947, he developed the first captioning for a movie by splicing dialogue called Most Like Silent Film did between the scenes, and rented the captioned film to deaf organizations and churches. To prevent piracy, producers will only sell him bad quality film. Despite this, people like Edmund Boatner, the superintendent of the American School for the Deaf, knew of Romero's work. Boatner created better methods of captioning and co-founded Captioned Film for the Deaf, Inc. Fast forward to the 1970s, when the work with decoders began, viewing captions on TV required a decoder. By 1980, closed captioning started appearing on several TV networks. 3 years later, I got my first decoder exactly like this one with useless switches, dials, and buttons. The only thing you could do was turn it off and on. By 1989, the National Captioning Institute wanted to expand the audience for captioned TV and worked on developing a chip that would put caption decoder technology inside new TVs. That became a reality in 1990 when Congress passed the Television Decoder Circuitry Act. Now, every TV and most devices come equipped with captioning capabilities. Then the internet came. It didn't take long before videos and sound files just circulate, leaving the deaf and hard of hearing behind again, like the talkie. It took almost 30 years for captioning tools and services to become widespread, but there's so many things not captioned. Today, there's a new barrier that reminds me of the time when I couldn't find many captioned shows. It's been hard to find virtual reality apps with caption with subtitles. Growing up, I had the best alarm. You may have heard of it. It's called MOM, which stands for My Own Mother. Well, I couldn't take Mom to college, so we found a rectangular block with a cord that you plug into a big digital clock radio. I'd put the block under the sheet in my bed. When the alarm went off, the block vibrated. However, it wasn't portable for business trip. I found the Shake Awake alarm clock at the picture show. I hated that thing because its powerful vibration had me jumping out of bed. Thankfully, my brain woke me before the alarm did. The last time I traveled for business, I set the alarm on my phone, chose the vibrate mode, and put it in the bed. Once again, just like with caption, technology is built in something we already use. No longer did I need to take an alarm clock on trip, and I always knew the TV in my hotel room would have caption. By the way, remember Emerson Romero? He created a vibrating alarm clock in 1959, as well as the entire product line for the deaf, including doorbells, smoke detectors, and baby alarms. I never needed those flashy light devices until I had my first child. My spouse traveled a lot. That means I would be alone with our child at night. So we bought a baby notification device to work with the bedroom lamp. The hope was when she woke up or cried, the lamp would blink and wake me up. The gadget was useless. It go off all the time. We promptly got rid of it. I don't know how we managed, but she had 2 college degrees, so I think she turned out okay. Back to my first job. Why did I get that TDD? In 1974, a nonprofit in Connecticut created and managed a telecommunications relay service. In 1987, California became the first state to mandate and establish the telecommunications relay program. Then, thanks to the American with Disability Act in 1990, the relay service expanded across the US. Here's how it worked. I call the operator on my TDD and give them a number to call. The operator called that number and typed everything the person said. I'd read what the operator entered. Then I could type or voice my reply. When I voiced my reply, it was called voice carryover or VCO. Before VCO existed, the operator would speak what I typed. Like with all technology, TDD got smaller and smaller, that I had a portable one for traveling. After the advent of the internet, you could use your computer to call the relay. Once again, an accessibility feature became available and something we already have in use, a connected computer. I have not used a TDD in more than 20 years. Today, I have a caption phone and an app to make caption phone calls, but they don't work well for me. Using them involves reading the caption, comprehending it, figuring out wrong or missing words, plus delayed caption. Cognitive overload makes it hard to fill in the gaps. I found something better, and we can thank the pandemic for that. First, we need to go to the late 1990s. Instant Messenger was a game changer. It was about the closest thing to texting before it came along. ICQ came out in 1996, and AOL Instant Messenger, also known as AIM, followed the next year. Not everyone had text messaging when they got the first cell phone, where it cost extra. So Messenger gave me a way to chat with people until text messaging became more common. It's not just sound that causes problems with the deaf like me. More and more virtual assistants and voice control apps and devices have come out. Some computers had digital speech recognition technology in the 1990s. Then Dragon Naturally Speaking software came out in 1997. It could recognize and transcribe human speech. At one point, I had thumb surgery and I could not type. So I tried Dragon Naturally Speaking. The only good thing that came out of that vexing experience was the funny blog post showing a bad transcription of my speech. Look it up if you like to check it out. I am a native English speaker, but Siri, Alexa, Cortana, Google Assistant, and all the other voice control tools don't like my funky accent. Although I don't say bad words much, the voice assistants frustrate me to the point that they have me saying bad words at them, and they reply flatly, "Sorry, I didn't catch that." These apps that work well with accents, stuttering, speech differences, and people who speak other languages. And of course, not everyone speaks with their voices. Keep these things in mind when creating products and offer at least 2 input options. After all, ebooks didn't replace printed books. Elevators and escalators didn't replace stairs. Another real game changer came in 2005 when I got my first cell phone with a keyboard, this Sidekick. We got one for my spouse and my daughter so we could text each other. Shortly after, BlackBerry came along and cell phones with keyboards were everywhere and texting grew. Many of us use it today, except instead of physical keyboards, we have on-screen keyboard. Before the pandemic, none of the video conferencing platforms offered captioning. Then the pandemic changed everything. Google made automatic caption, the Microsoft team. Initially, Zoom required a paid account to use the caption. No one should pay for accessibility feature. Thanks to a petition, Zoom added caption to a free account. It will be available on all free accounts soon. Those who need it for accessibility can contact Zoom to get it sooner. Anyway, for me, captioned video calls provide the best experience for live conversation. Have you seen those endearing commercials with that customer calling a family for the first time using a cell phone with caption? When meeting the grandchild for the first time on a video call with sign language, I sort of had my own heartwarming moment. The first photo is with my youngest at Purdue University. Grow up, y'all. We're standing next to the unfinished P statue. He just started calling. He's been asking me if I want to do a video call. For him to ask for a captioned video call means a lot to me. He hasn't sent me any photos of him, so I not just one from our phone call. I know the caption below his face don't make sense. That's because automatic captions don't like my accent, and that's why I call them auto caption. Still, this is a huge game changer. Despite the challenges of the pandemic, it did a lot of great things for people with disabilities, like make caption video calls when they're available, meetings more accessible than in-person meetings, and virtual conferencing more doable than face-to-face events. I came across a wristband made for the deaf. It doesn't have a watch face. What it has is a built-in microphone, status light, sensitivity control, and buzz motor. That's it. It's a sound notification device with different vibration tones or haptics to alert you to specific sound. The band vibrates based on the sound it hears. One deaf person said he speaks for all deaf people when he says, "This won't work because we don't like haptics." But that's not true. Even so, the wristband won't work for different reasons. First, it's not affordable. It's not affordable. And it's another device to have with a single purpose. If you already have a watch, you'd be wearing this and the watch. And on top of this, deaf people, 70% of deaf people are under or unemployed. These accessibility products and features target the deaf and hard of hearing. But what about products that were not developed with accessibility in mind, but the curb cut effect ended up creating an accessibility tool? I accidentally discovered one, and it's a better way to get alerts. No flashy lamps, no buzzing alarm on steroids. Little did I know, there's one thing would be a great accessibility tool that made my life easier. The company never advertised the product as an accessibility tool. This is an example of why it's important to hire people with disabilities. We identify opportunities like that. If required, my bionic ear can hear the kitchen timer from my office, but at certain really when I'm focused on something, I totally go deaf to the buzzer and miss it. Thanks to this accessibility tool, I set the timer when I cook something. As soon as it's done, my wrist buzzes. I can't ignore that. That tool is my Apple Watch, and it works with something I already have, my iPhone. Thanks to the watch, I don't have to carry my phone everywhere in the house. The GPS screen in my car is very out of date, and I can't update it. And I can't safely look at the phone while I'm driving. A better way is to enter the destination on the phone, then my watch gives me turn-by-turn direction. It's safer, faster, and easier to see each turn on the watch than on the phone. What's cool is the door camera works with the watch. When someone comes to the door, my watch buzzes. Once I didn't have my bionic ear on, and my watch tells me someone is at the door. It turned out to be my sister. One of my sons forgot to tell me she was coming over. Typical. This isn't meant to be an ad for the watch. Even if you don't have a watch, all these features also work on the phone. Also, Apple and Android devices have built-in sound recognition. Both listen for sounds like baby noises, appliances, and water running. Like the door camera, sound notifications work with my watch. So far, it's a disaster like the baby lamp. Nonetheless, it's progress and a better option than the wristband with only one purpose. I'm sure these will get better. No matter how old I get and how many times I've left the water running, I never learn. I just did it again. And sound notification didn't help. A hearing friend in Japan told me he had the same problem because the shower is so quiet, you can't hear it running. Sound notifications won't help there either. The Chrome browser has live captions that pop up when there's audio. Google has added the feature to Pixel phone. Here's a screenshot from a phone call on a Pixel with captions showing. Video calls also allow signers to see each other in phone. There's an app that lets the signer see the person they're calling, as well as the sign language interpreter. I love the haptics on my watch, and other deaf people have said the same. That's why it's important to talk to multiple people with the same or similar disability. We're all different. What does the future look like? Let's set the time machine to 5 years in the future and see what's happening. Uh-oh. It looks like the deaf lawyer broke. This is what I get for going generic. Let's take a peek into the future with my invisible crystal ball. No doubt, artificial intelligence and automatic speech recognition will continue to mature. They'll expand to include more languages and hopefully do a better job of those with speech differences and accents like mine. I've seen several voice assistant apps in the works that are for people who speak differently. Research, development, and creating guidelines are underway in virtual reality, augmented reality, and immersive technology. One virtual reality environment has captions from multiple languages embedded. If someone speaks Japanese, I would see a translation of what they said in English caption. This actually happened, and it was amazing. Another VR environment, however, requires paying for captions on a per-user basis. Accessibility features should never cost extra. Very few VR apps have captions or subtitles. We have a long way to go. If you know of a VR title with on-screen text for audio, please contact me and let me know about it. I wish the VR app stores would make it easier to find apps with captions, on-screen text, and other accessibility features. There are caption glasses being developed and tested. Maybe the technology will mature and eventually become standard in all glasses. I bet live captions like those on Chrome and Pixel will show up in other browsers, operating systems, and devices. In fact, I'm surprised they haven't yet. The future will have more technology incorporating accessibility features. Live captions originally required a decoder. Now they're included in TV and devices. Making phone calls required a TDD. Now you can use your computer or your cell phone to do that. No longer do you need a contraption to connect the doorbell to the lamp. Now you can use the door camera that works with your phone and watch. Many companies have, with good intention, follow the functional solution model of disability. While they take a real-world approach to innovation and finding solutions, they overlook the social and political implications and other issues. You may have heard about the sign language law. These have been slammed for valid reasons. The signer wrote the law and the computer translates them into spoken word. The creators did not consider the cost and that it's awkward for the signers to wear these gloves and carry the computer. A viral video of a wheelchair going up the stairs upset many of us. We saw an expensive and unsafe product. Many folks share article of inventions that was supposedly make life better for people with disabilities. Technologies that sound cool and useful doesn't mean it's a good idea. Often they're expensive or they didn't include people with disabilities early in the process. People with disabilities don't want, as Liz Jackson says, disability dongle. The best thing business can do is talk to the people who will use the technology before designing the product. Better yet, hire people with disabilities. Dear companies, when you make accessibility part of your business and culture, you'll expand your reach. Promote that you have accessibility features. Don't be shy. This is the time to do it when there's less competition, but that will change soon. Thanks to the pandemic, more companies are investing in accessibility. And when you do ask for feedback, don't stop with one person. People with the same disability are all different. When I wrote an article about sign language interpreters, I talked to multiple deaf people who communicate with sign language every day. This quote states it all. Nothing about us without us. If you like the slides from this presentation along with the other resources, they are at mail.net/ID24. My email is me@mail.net. The email is on that page too. Thank you for your time, and I'd like to give a Texas Guys thanks and yeehaw to the ID24 team for having me. And we're ready to take questions. And here's another picture of me from when I was about 2 or 3 in a vintage dress, gigging with overalls and the big clunky vintage hearing aid on my chest with a very plain white case.
Hello, sorry about that mild technical snafu. There had to be one at some point. Thank you, Meryl. That was a wonderful talk. I loved hearing about all that history of technology and particularly your comment about no matter how many times something happens, like the bath overruns, you don't complain and moan. I get that, I really do. As we say here in the UK, mustn't grumble. So that was great, thank you. Ariel, I believe we have some questions.
Yeah, we do have some questions. And yeah, thank you so much, Meryl. I was giggling a lot at the beginning of your talk about the magnets, especially. So I'm going to go to bed tonight with a big smile on my face. So our first question is, are there underserved sectors of society for deaf folks? Are we the privileged few to be in the technology space and have easier access to the benefits of tech improvements for deaf folks?
Wow, that's a tricky one. We That's a tough one. I'm trying to understand what the question is asking. Well, the funny thing is that I just read an article this week that a lot of people with disabilities don't even have access to technology. So clearly there is a problem. And those who don't have access to technology, how are they supposed to let us know? It's kind of a catch-22, isn't it? So it sounds like there may be a need for programs to get technology to people. It's gotten so cheap. I can't imagine there will be sponsors and government entities who could help get the technology to these people so they can have a bigger role in society. And
So the next question is, what do you think about tech that makes deaf technology intentionally visible as opposed to trying to minimize its appearance?
I'm assuming that when you talk about deaf technology being visible, I'm assuming maybe you're talking about like a hearing device or like cochlear implant. Uh, some people love it because kids, I've seen all kinds of decoration, colors, and cochlear implants, and they don't have to, they're not ashamed of it. There's no reason to be. And they're proud of it. And I kind of envy them because they're growing up at a time when people always have something on their ear, whether it's Bluetooth or headphones, or so they don't stick out anymore. And I no longer feel self-conscious when I wear my hair in a ponytail, which is almost all the time. But considering the curly hair can make things really hot. So nothing wrong with that. So if it's visible, not visible, we have control. And it's by choice.
Do we have any more questions, Ariel?
So the next question is, what practices beyond those you've covered already from history harm the creation of deaf tech or improvement to tech to be inclusive of deaf folks? Wow, that's a challenging one. I think in general, whenever there's a new technology, it leaves the deaf behind. So like right now, I feel like that's happening in virtual reality. But because I've been searching and searching for apps, and all I find are people asking the same question. Where are the caption apps? So we have a tendency to create, and it's not just deaf people, it's people with other disabilities as well. VR is very visual, but I'm hearing some exciting research that would make VR possible in the dark. So there's actually a session coming up. So look that up or contact me and I'll tell you about it. So I think there's always going to be improvement. Improvement, as I say, that will set us back a little bit, but eventually things will come around and find a way to include us. And now with the last question, thank you for your excellent thought-provoking questions. You have me thinking, and I'll probably keep on thinking after this. So thank you. I really appreciate that you attended there and gave a little bit of your day.
And thank you, Meryl, for your time and effort and a truly excellent talk. Thank you again. For everybody who's tuned in, head over to youtube.com/inclusive design 24 and please show your appreciation by hitting the like button for Meryl's talk and indeed all the others that we've shared so far today. And while you're there, why not subscribe so you'll get notified of future activities. A reminder that Inclusive Design 24 is a respectful community and our code of conduct is available linked from every page of our website. ID 24 2021 is brought to you with thanks from our supporters, Intopia, Fable, TPGI ARC, Adobe, Tetralogical, Intuit, Infoaxia, Center for Inclusive Design, Web Directions AAA Conference, Adrian Roselli LLC, and Can Access. Thank you to all of them. And we will be back with you for our penultimate talk in a little under 10 minutes.